Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Is it any good? Let's talk about it. So Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania is a new Marvel movie, the start to Phase 5, and overall, pretty, just kind of a weak start, honestly. The movie was really disappointing in my opinion. Of course, it still had its really good elements, and it had its really poor ones. The characters are, of course, still fun. Scott's fun. Cassie's even interesting. Hope kind of did nothing in this whole movie, honestly. The movie's called Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. And Hope barely did anything until the very end. Hank and Janet are just kind of there. Janet has more meaning to the story than pretty much anyone else, really. But yeah, Hank's just there, like, until the final battle, until he does something at the final battle, really. The trailers for this movie...
I can get you hope. And give you more time. If you help me.
We're very strong, really. Made it look like a really, like...
This is all my fault.
You may not want her to watch this. We had a deal.
A mind fuck of a movie, but...
Thought you could win.
It just wasn't.
I don't have to win. We both just have to lose.
The whole scene where, like, he's running away and all the Ant-Men are there. That is one small scene, really. It's like a 5-minute scene at most, maybe. And yeah, the scene has significance, just not a lot. Like, it's just because Kang wanted Ant-Man to do something for him or he'd kill Cassie, and so he had to go get the thing for him in that little mindfuck area. But that's like the only part that's really a mindfuck of the movie, and they didn't like really do it good. Like, it's interesting, it was fun to see, it was fun, it was entertaining to watch, but other than that, it was just kind of there in the movie. This whole movie is just kind of there, like, it just kind of exists. It doesn't serve a whole lot of meaning to the MCU other than introducing more Kang. And like, speaking of Kang, Kang's very cool in this movie. He's great in this movie. I think he's great. And I feel like that's been the problem lately with a lot of MCU movies, is that the villain's great, but the story's not great. Like, I think the story was good. I think the story was fine. It had a very good concept. It felt really like a Star Wars movie almost at times. And at times it felt very Rick and Morty, so, which isn't good for Marvel. Like, I love Rick and Morty, but that's its own, like, separate thing, like, far away. It just doesn't really... Wow, camera. It just doesn't really fit well within the MCU. I feel, at least. And if they wanted to do it, they could have done it way better. There's these freedom fighters in the movie that all they pretty much do is just die. That's like their whole purpose in the movie, is to be there and just fucking die. But it was such a waste, though. I think they could have done it way more interesting and way better. They had this guy who could just, like, read minds, and that's how they gained the trust of Scott and Cassie. Like, it's just... it just felt so fucking lazy to me. Just such lazy writing. Like, we didn't really get to see them do much. Like, they don't really do much against Kang. Like, we understand why they're fighting against them, kind of. Just barely a little bit. But other than that, like, they don't do much. They're just kind of there in the movie. They're fucking useless. I wish what we got to see was Scott and Cassie have to help them with a mission that they're on. And that's how they gain the trust. And that's how the freedom fighters... Or that's how they gain the trust of the freedom fighters. And we would have gotten to see the freedom fighters do stuff other than to just rush Kang and die. Like, we do get to see Kang be very powerful at times, and at times, he's pretty lame, honestly. Like, they still did him kind of dirty, honestly. It's kind of a disappointment. It's kind of a waste. Like, nothing meaningful happens in this movie until the end, in which they hint at the Kang Dynasty, like the next Avengers movie. And the post-credit scene is probably my biggest complaint. Like, I don't want to get into spoilers. They introduce more Kangs, and it shows that those are the Kangs that the Avengers are going to go up against, but they're just not as cool as the Kang that we've been fighting for the whole movie. So it's just super lame, super dumb, fucking... Like, I don't want to see the Avengers go up against the Council of Cucks. I want to see the Avengers go up against one king, and that's the king that we got to see in this movie. And MODOK is an absolute joke in this movie. MODOK can be a really cool character at times. I really like MODOK. He was interesting in the Avengers game. They did him better in the Avengers game, and that's saying a lot because that game sucks doo-doo. If we just, like, MODOK didn't even need to be in this movie. He was just an insult sponge. All they did was fucking just shit on him, and he was a joke. He was a joke of a character. He was a joke of a villain. So either they could have done him really cool, or they could have done him not at all. He could have been used somewhere else. He was a waste. At times, MODOK can be an Avengers level threat, and he was barely even a threat for just Cassie at all. He was such a goddamn joke, and it really disappointed me. And there is a plot hole to where, in Endgame, Scott was in the quantum realm for 5 hours, but in the real world, in our world, he was in there for 5 years. Why weren't the same rules applied to Janet at all? Just a stupid plot hole. She was there for 30 years in there, and she was there for 30 years in here. Like, according to the logic that we've been giving, she should have been in there for 30 hours instead of 30 years completely, you know? And the music is alright, I guess. Like, they didn't really give Christoph Beck good time to shine, really. And, like, he can direct really good. I really like the music for the first Ant-Man. Ant-Man and the Wasp music is a little lame. I don't really like it too much. And the music in it is very reminiscent of the first 2 movies, but it just could have been a little better, and they could have given him more time to shine with his music, because the music it's not bad, but they just didn't put the good tracks in there, really. Like, they didn't really let the good music shine in it. They put, like, the okay tracks in there mostly. Hey, Future Dan here. Listening to the tracks, like, listening to the actual score itself, for the editing of this video, I gotta say, I changed my mind on it. It's incredibly generic. It's pretty bad, actually. It's super boring. Nothing special about it. Just incredibly generic, basic-ass action movie shit, just with remnants of some Ant-Man music in there, so there's that. And something I've been seeing is, like, the action scenes were bad. They kind of were, yeah. Literally every time, like, they had their moments with the good action scenes, but literally, like, there was too much shaky cam, and whenever someone would, like, throw a punch, it would just cut to another camera, like, immediately. And, like, there was just so many cuts. Like, we didn't get to see, like, a good, like, static shot of just them fighting. So the action was just awful, really, at times. And I'm tired. I'm so goddamn tired of these faceless armies and movies where it's just an army versus army, and we don't really get to see much in that fight. I'm so tired of it. Like, Endgame did that, but it was fine in Endgame, you know? And they did a good in Endgame, because we got to see more of the actual characters instead of just armies clashing, you know? Like, I'm so tired of that. It's just a waste of VFX time. It's a waste of money, really. Like, I don't want to see it. It's just lame. It's boring. And I don't know why Marvel thinks that people like it, because I haven't seen anyone talk about it. Like, yeah, another army scene. Woo! I like this so much. It's so entertaining, because it's not. And of course, it had its fucking Marvel quips. Like, there's a scene at the beginning where Scott and Cassie get attacked by this, like, sun glowy monster thing. And so he throws it into, like, the void, and he defeats it, whatever. And then he goes, "That was weird." Like, my bad. He says it like we were expecting a laugh out of it. Like, only, like, half the jokes in this movie landed, which is a hell of a lot better than Thor: Love and Thunder, which none of the jokes really landed for me, really. But overall, it was just disappointing. But at least it was, like, entertaining. Like, it entertained me for a couple hours, and that's really all I can ask for, I guess. So I'm just going to give it like a 7.5 out of 10. I wouldn't really recommend it if you don't like the characters or anything. But if you like the characters, you just want to see them interact more with each other, you just want to see more of the characters in general, go see it, I guess. It's kind of a forgettable movie overall, and I'm just disappointed. Because like I said, the trailers were just pretty strong for it. That's pretty much, I think, all I have to say about it, really. Not much really to go into it. But yeah, thanks for watching. Be sure to go check out my other videos. I have kind of pretty diverse content on my channel. I do a lot of things. So yeah, go check out my other videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.